Okay, can you guys see me? As I said before, my desk is a mess. You can kind of see my light. But this light, I have to tell you, I got a light post, like a umbrella, a set of 2 of them, and they help so much. Those of you who like doing the online videos for YouTube or Ustream or whatever, I suggest strongly to get the light umbrellas. You can find them on Amazon for like 2 for $80, I think it was, and it includes the lamps and everything. So it helps out a lot with my classes. But we're getting to why we're here today, right? Today I'm going to show you all the new stuff coming out for the Bloom collection in January. Some of you have seen a couple sneaks of the stuff coming out already on the blog yesterday and today. The design team, Prima's design team, made some beautiful projects on the blog. If you guys did not see that, go ahead and check out Prima's blog today. They also post on all of the other media sites like Twitter and Pinterest and also Instagram. If you didn't know, Prima's also on Instagram as well as I am. So make sure you check us out. My username is Jalen Scraps on Instagram. Prima's is Prima Flowers, I believe. I can double check for that as well. And also follow us on Twitter and everything else. So, but let's get down to business, all right? Okay, so let me go ahead and point this down. We'll point this down to show everybody the goodies. Yeah? All right. So let's start off with the tag that you saw in our little sample. And we'll be making this afternoon. This is using a couple of the new products. This is from Anna's collection a couple releases back. One of the little baubles, the epoxy stickers. And we're going to be creating this. This is using my watercolor paper and some old music sheets and things like that. All right. So let's find our little guy stamp. Let me show you. Where did he go? Here he is. All right, look at him, our first guy, our Bloom guy, Bloom boy. I don't know, he's not really a boy, so I don't want to call him a boy. But this is Quentin. He was named after my son, and I kind of like, this is without all the gears and stuff, but his face is what I kind of picture Quentin to look like when he's older, you know? So that's kind of where he came about, and I know steampunk, a lot of people like the gears and things like that, and he's been sitting in my sketchbook for well over a year. He's been sitting there patiently waiting until I had the nerve to kind of say, let's try a guy. So he's kind of the first one to break the barrier of just doing the girls. So this is him. Also new for this release, we've added wording to the stamp sets. So his says exceptionally amazing, and all of the word phrases I wrote up or whatever I created as well. So this is Quentin. We have 8 new stamps. Yeah, 8 new stamp sets, and then we have stencils and another fun new product, the thread letters that I came up with as well. And I'm going to show you guys all of that today. I know. It's so fun. I know. The mustache is fun. You can kind of separate things out, of course, out of the stamp. You could separate the gears. There's a lot of different ways to use the stamps, and I want to show you a couple of those today. I know a lot of us, we've seen the trends kind of going back to do-it-yourself projects and home decor, and it's really broadening past just scrapbooking and card making. And that's one reason why, and I've said this before, why we did the larger stamps. Because I want the stamps and the money that you spend on your product to be utilized in more than just one area. So it's great to have your stamp collection, and I'm guilty of this, and this is another reason why I did this. I had tons of stamps just sitting there, but they were so small that I didn't really see them being used on anything else. So when I designed the second set of stamps and the third set, these are the same size as the last release, a little bit bigger, but when you use these, and as you can see, I use this on a tag. His face, this is a larger size tag, yes, but his face will still fit on a regular sized, manila tag. But I could also turn around and use him for other projects. Like this book, this is a upcoming class for 2015. So if you have any stores in your area and you want to see this as a class, let them know. But I can use this on mixed media. And this is a little album. It's a hand-bound book that I'll be teaching. This is using one package of my watercolor paper. All right. So this is using one pad of my watercolor paper. Here's a art journal page I did. It says, life sometimes feels blurred, but with a little effort, you can pull it back into focus. And that came off of the fact that I double stamped him somehow. I must have picked up my block too soon, and he kind of got stamped a little blurry, so I made a page off of that and went with it. But yeah, this is a class I'm gonna be doing in a couple locations hopefully, and there's a lot of fun mixed media techniques, and I won't go into too much detail with those, but we use the stamp, we use my watercolor pad, and also the thread letters. Now these are brand new. I will say I designed these down to making the prototypes for them to create. So it's really fun to see them in person. I'll show you package actually. La 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 la. So these are the thread letters, and we're doing words. Now the words that I brought, this one, draw. We don't have draw, but I went and took the word dream and pulled it apart and made it into draw. So even though we don't have the full alphabet, you can pull apart the words that come in the collection. Now we have create, dream, love, happy, and family. Let me see. I have an E that part of it's covered in wax and the other's nude. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Come on. My camera doesn't like focusing. There you go. So you can see they look like the trendy yarn alphabets that you see on Pinterest, and that's kind of that was my inspiration, was those large alphabets, those yarn letters. I wanted to shrink them down and make them usable on projects. So we did that. I kept them white. That way you could use your art mediums on top of them. You could spray them with the colored loom sprays. You can paint them with acrylic paints. You can use your alcohol inks. You can use all of those different mediums to customize them to make them any color you want. So that's why we kept them white. That way you can customize them to make them your own. All right. So again, we have 5 words in the set, and I'm hoping you guys like these. They're a really fun idea and something I hadn't seen on the market yet. So I wanted to make something new that people could have a little fun with. Okay. So that is the alphabets. Now back to our stamps. This is our first guy stamp, but of course we had to bring our Bloom Girls back. And I want to show you our new girls. Okay. So another new kind of style, and I know you all know that I like to bring people of all nationalities into the Bloom Girls. Everybody should have a voice and their own, they feel connected to them. That's another big thing about the Bloom Girls. I wanted to create a collection that everyone could connect to in some way, shape, or form. So I brought in some more that I feel that you guys could relate to in some way. So another one is Katrina. And she's kind of the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos girl, all right? And hers says, don't let your fears haunt your future. And that's the wording that she comes with. And this one, let me show you a sample I created with her. This is on a little oval canvas. Okay, quick little, colored her with markers. Did a little dimension on the back. Okay, and then we have Serena. She's a little mermaid, seaside inspired piece. And her wording says, "Don't bother me. I'm living my dreams." Okay. This one is kind of one of my favorites. This is her name's Mother. And her loveliness is measured by her heart and soul. That's the wording on her. And she's really fun. You can use the flowers that are on her, or you could cut them off and just use her face. Her face is really user-friendly, I should say. It's really easy to kind of manipulate her. The next one is Lacey. I did, these two, I had samples on the blog yesterday using them. The Mother May I think the wording, the title was on this one. It's a pink and yellow piece. That was her. And then Lacey's the teal colored project on there. Both of those projects will be workshops for 2015 as well. Hers says, "Happy endings are only new beginnings." And I added the little tattoo to her shoulders. So different way to incorporate our blooms. And then we have Emily. Let me grab her words. Emily is a steampunk. She goes with our Quentin. And hers says she won't settle for ordinary. Now, Emily was named after Quentin's dog, Emily, our chocolate lab. And I just thought it was funny just to kind of include that in there. She kind of reminds me of a female version or human version of the personality, I guess you'd say. So we have the steampunk here with some gears and things like that. Let me get the sugar skull one again. Somebody's asking about that. Here's the sugar skull. All right. And that's Katrina. Okay. And this one is Annalie. This is actually, I did a contest. I had one more stamp I wanted to include in the set, but I didn't know exactly what direction I wanted to go into. Plus, I wanted to see what people were driven towards. So I had a contest a few months back, and I asked everybody to kind of give me ideas, what they liked to see, what they wanted to see, just to kind of give me a soundboard of where kind of the trend was going and where people's interests were. And this one came up, and it was just, she wanted something dreamy and just uplifting and light. And so this is the stamp that I came up with off of her suggestion. Life is splendid. And our first little bird. Yeah, he's there. And let me show you this project I'm working on. It's not quite finished yet, but I wanted to make this little mixed media art piece. And right now, so far, it's got a lot of work left to do on it. But I stamped and did this background on a piece of panel board. And I set her in about a quarter inch. Yeah, about a quarter inch of resin. And I have a lot of other stuff I'm going to do to her. But that's kind of like another idea, another way to utilize your stamps. They don't just have to be on a piece of paper. So this is another little project that's going up in the CHA booth. And the little hummingbird, of course, could be used by itself. And last but not least, I wanted to kind of break away a little bit from the girls. And I created my first flower stamp set. And these, of course, can be used with your girls as well. There's a few different sizes in here. I wanted something small that you could still use on cards and tags. But I made something larger so that you could use them on furniture, you could use it on mixed media, you could use it on an art journal. I made a table that I'll be showing later on. I made a little round table, went and got the pieces at Home Depot, put it together, made a table, and then I stamped this on top and kind of used it as a template and painted it in gold leaf. So it was just a different way to use the stamps. All right, so these are the stamps that are out. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, definitely. You could use these on paper. Let me show you actually. Now, somebody said you could use all these stamps on fabric. Let me show you. If you guys have not signed up or you're kind of still on the ledge of whether you're going to sign up for Art Venture or not, let me show you my project we are going to create at Art Venture this year. And it kind of goes into using all of your stuff on fabric. This is the bag that we're going to be creating at Art Venture. We're going to make a little pocket on the front that you could use. These are some of the letters, the create word. We're going to use those. I sprayed those with some medium. So we're going to, and I didn't color her in. I just add a little paint around her. You don't have to color in the stamps all of the time. You can just highlight accents of the piece and just kind of show you what we're going to be doing. I really love that the fact that the bag is included in the class because, one, if you've been to Art Venture, you're going to know there's so much stuff that you get at Art Venture. I wanted to give you guys something and a way to carry it all around in, for one. And two, I really love this bag. The quality of it, and those of you who have it can testify that this thing is just perfect. I carry a good, probably sometimes 20 to 30 pounds of product in these bags, and I never have a problem. I think my shoulder has more of a problem than this bag does when I carry it around. But I wanted to show you what we're going to be creating at Art Venture. We're going to be doing a little stitching. That's very popular right now. That home, warm, fuzzy feeling of hand-stitched, handmade is really coming back, and I love that just because that's kind of what I grew around in is handmade and personal touches. And this really, you could put your personal touch on this, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. I have a couple of color schemes that are available that you can go off of as well. You don't have to create this color scheme. So you're going to be very open to whatever you create in my class. I know that they've, Denny has posted a couple other samples online showing what we're going to be creating during Art Venture. So make sure you check that out. You can find all the information on Prima's Facebook page under their events page. You can go online to Prima's website if you want to. If you want, you can ask me and I can get you the information as well. But the Prima's Art Venture is January, right before CHA. It's the 6th and the 7th. And I really hope to see you guys there. We're going to have a lot of fun. All right? So that is, and the, kind of seeing a couple little things on the bag. Let me go to the stencils that are coming out. I really had some fun with the stencils this time. It is so much fun. You guys get so much stuff at Art Venture. I'm telling you. Some of the ladies were like, I have to get another box just to ship all this stuff back. And they hadn't even been to CHA yet. So, okay. Let me see. Sorry, you guys. All right, I'm just checking the messages real quick. Yeah, bring an extra like little carry-on or duffel bag that you could like just check in. It's a lot cheaper. I tell you guys, even if it's a folded down box, it's cheaper to check that in with your baggage than it is to ship it. I know for a fact that it's often cheaper to do it that way. But, okay, so for our stencils, I came out with some double-layered flower stencils. And I wanted to do this because we have so many art mediums, you can add so much different dimension. Now, we have a few different ones, and if I need to, I can take these out of the package. So we have this anemone, I guess that is. We have a lotus flower. We have a hibiscus. And we also have, this is supposed to be sweet pea, but on the package it says sweet tea. Either way, it's awesome to use. We used it on the bag. These, they are close together, but what I do is I take a little bit of packing tape or masking tape and I just mask that part of my stencil off. If you're wanting to use it with your sprays. What I do is I'll spray this side, or I use my chalk inks on this side, and then I'll take my black gesso or dimensional paste and I'll do more of a dimensional layer with my outline. So there's a lot of different ways, and I'll be showing you guys, of course, different techniques to use when using your stencils in the coming weeks, of course. But I wanted to show you our flower stencils. And then, I know some of you are going to be excited about these. I came out with a wing stencil set. And I have that one out of the packaging, so you can kind of see. Oh, it's hard to see on that. Hold on. Let me find a white piece of paper. It's not going to show you. But we have wings. Looky, looky, looky. So I made a collection of them. Again, they are close, but you can mask the other ones that you're not using off. One of my samples on the blog yesterday used this top stencil, this little wing up here. Sorry, you guys. And just different ways. I kind of sized them to fit with our stamps so that you could build off of your stamps and create that way. Or they're still large enough to where you can add them to your art journals and things like that. So that's another stencil. I love that stencil. This is one of the stencils. Now, it looks crazy on the stencil sheet, but once you actually get out and use them, they look so awesome. Like back in that book. Oh, that flower. Let me show you a sample. Oop, oop. Let me go back real quick. That sweet pea stencil, I used that stencil on this little home decor piece. Isn't that cool looking? So you could totally use it for so many different ways. Show you that real quick. But back into the book. Where did he go? This little guy. Here's our page. These little sprays around him are from the round stencil. Isn't that awesome? I just loved the sunburst look. And I wanted to give you guys 3 different sizes again, so you can get more utilization out of your product. So you have 3 different sizes, 3 different ways that you could, 3 different applications, possibilities, so many different ways actually that you can use this stencil. Then we have this little guy. He's crisscross. This is more for your mixed media pieces for your art journals. This would look really cool to use as a pattern on a piece of fabric for your like a pillowcase. Kind of stagger them and take your dimensional paste and paste through that and make a cool little design. Then we have this is like a chevron. It's called Ricket. I made it a little rough just to give a different design element to it. And again, I put the larger size, that way more home decor. You can stencil on a wall, you can stencil on a floor. My inspiration and behind a couple of these larger sized stencils was my sister, I love her dearly, wanted to paint her concrete floor, and she was looking for a stencil that would be large enough to where she can add accents to her floor to add design to. So I made a couple of these larger ones to where she could do like a molding or something different and use stencils doing it. So those are a couple of the ideas. And then we have our words. These were all hand painted, and then I transferred over to a digital format. And this, it says love, family, day, joy, happy, good, lucky, you. There's a couple little hearts. I wanted to make it look like almost like an ink drawn wording. Okay. So those are another new stencil. And then we have this spark little pattern stencil. It was just a fun little stencil. I thought it would look cool with a couple of our other ones I wanted to incorporate. Just a nice pattern stencil that had a little edge to it. But those are the products coming out in January. How many of you guys love them? I'm so excited for this release. It's just something new, something different. There's something just kind of refreshing about it. I'm excited. Does anybody have questions? What is your favorite stamp or stencil so far? I want to hear it. I want to see, what is your favorite so far? Thank you. Okay, so, ow. I just pinched myself. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a stamp and tag, a couple tags. We have plenty of time. If you guys haven't used the words, you guys loved, like Emily, the words, Annalie, all of them. Thank you, everybody. Most of you who've talked to me know that I'm really passionate about my creations. So I really appreciate when you guys give me input about what you like and even what you don't like, because that way I know for future designs what I should steer away from and what I should kind of go closer to. So any feedback is, you know, very important to me. Okay, so our tags. I'm going to build a base from my watercolor pads. If you haven't used the watercolor pads, they're an A4 size. I want to say they're probably about around a 90 weight. They're a bit different than your basic watercolor paper, which I kind of love. For the price, the watercolor paper is just awesome. And I like that the one side's got a texture and the other side's more smooth. So those who like to do stamps, a lot of stamping, they can use the smooth side. And those who want more of the artistic, you know, the artsy look can use the textured side. So it is very versatile. It comes with 20 pages. 20 sheets come in one pack. And you get a lot out of them. I've blown through probably 6 pads of these paper. I use it on pretty much everything that I do now. Not just because it's, you know, mine, but because I really like the paper. And I like the quality that it is. So I'm just going to pull a page out. Maybe. I don't want to go off camera, but I'm going to have to. Okay. So we have our piece of paper. Oh, you guys, if you need paper line, if you want a paper line, you guys need to talk to Prima. If you want paper line, tell Prima, and we'll discuss that. Okay, so I don't have any tags the size I want. So I'm just going to take one that I'd already created, which I had taken from another one before. Just going to line it up. I can get a couple tags out of this one sheet of paper. Just going to line it up, take a pencil. Come on. And I'm going to outline. Do I have lead in? No, of course not. The kids take my pencils and they use them for school, but when they return them, they are empty. Okay, so I'm just going to lightly outline my tag. I'm all about using what you got. Okay. He may be a little bit bigger because of the other papers I had on top, but we'll go with it. So I'm going to cut my tag out. Hello? Come on. Sorry, guys. Come on. I broke it. Hello. There we go. Are we going to focus? Darn nabbit. There we go. Okay. So we're going to cut our tag out. Doesn't have to be fancy. We're going to be putting more layers on it anyways. This camera gets really sensitive with white. And sometimes it'll throw it out of focus or throw it out of like light content. It'll get really dark. Okay, so we have that. And what I did with the original little Lucky Guy, I took some vintage music sheets. You can use whatever paper you have. I'm going to grab some more music. I was lucky enough to be given some of the some music paper sheets that used to be my uncle's. I'm just going to take the words that are in that book. Okay. And we're just going to collage some music paper and this other paper on top. And again, you can use whatever paper you have on hand. And if it goes over, it's fine. We can come back in and cut it down. Okay. You want to make sure your whole piece is covered. If you overlap, that's fine too. Do, 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 do. Paper line. All right. How many of you guys like the papers that were in the original art book? Okay. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to use some of the Prima soft gel matte medium. It's the matte. I want the matte because that way with the matte finish, I'm able to use other products on top. I traveled with this jar and I can't get it open. There you go. The soft gel matte. There we go. I keep the lid that way because it's easier to store. Well, I may need clean water, but that's okay. Okay. So with a brush, you can get your brush a little damp. It'll help spread the gel medium a little bit. You don't want it too wet because then it'll make a mess. We're just going to put a layer of gel onto our tag. Now, another thing, when you're looking for papers, another good sign of watercolor paper is if you spray the whole paper. I'm not saying just one little spot. Spray the whole paper, and if it starts to dome like this, that's a good sign of a nice quality paper. It means the core is even throughout. If you spray and it starts warping like this, you're going to have problems. Like this right here, I just put our gel medium on one side, and it's starting to kind of dome like it should. Now, your heavier weight papers, of course, won't dome like that because they're a thicker paper, but when you're looking for a mid-grade, something you can use on any project, it's a good sign of papers. So I put a little bit of the gel on the back as well, just to kind of assist in putting the paper down without it warping too much. Oh, sorry, you guys. Go back on camera. Push that gel medium around. I put a little bit of the gel on the back of my little music paper. I need a little bit up here. And putting it on our surface plus the paper that you're putting down will help it from bubbling underneath. It'll give you a nice smooth finish. You want to give a good amount of pressure as you're laying the paper down. That'll also help without keeping it from bubbling. Let's see. Let's put this guy up here at the top. Put a little bit on the back of our paper. And then push it down. I'm working on a craft mat, so I'm not too worried about the gel getting onto the mat. So I'm just going to push it down. When we're done, I can turn the card over and trim up my pieces. Just makes it easier, quicker that way. Let's go over here. Well, I need to add a little more. With the thinner paper, like what I'm using, this vintage stuff, this antique paper, or not antique, but older paper, it's very thin, so I don't have to put a lot of medium on it. If you're using more of like a scrapbook paper, you may need a little bit more medium to get it to lay down flat. Keep that in mind. Also, the watercolor paper, like my Day of the Dead, this sample right here, I used watercolor paper. I used the smooth side, and I laid it down with a little bit of the gel medium. I used the glossy on this one. Woo! But I'm still able to lay it flat. So just keep in mind that you may need a little bit more medium. Okay? All right. So we're just going to keep going. Down here. I'm using my straight edges when I can to make my life a little easier. All right. You can keep going until you completely cover. All right. Now this card, I might give it a little whitewash just because on the original tag, you kind of lose some of his features. It being, you know, against the dark background. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give the piece a little whitewash once I'm done doing this. Okay. Lay that down. I'm going to dry it and then I'll cut it. If I try to cut it while it's still wet, it'll kind of it can ruin my scissors cutting through that gummy, you know, surface. Now I missed some right here. I wasn't paying attention. I have a bubble. So we're just going to add a little bit and press that down a little bit. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and dry. I'm going to put my lid back on for now, just the little hard plastic one. Uh-oh, I gotta plug in, that would help. I could sit there, I'm probably full enough with hot air I could do it, but here we go. Now we're cooking. All right. Point my camera up just a tad. That'll help. That way I'm not working off camera, huh? Hi, Ramel. You want to make sure that it's not sticky. Keep drying until it's completely dry. Keep drying. Okay. All right. That should be dry enough. Now I'm going to go in the back and trim up my pieces. Funny story. I had this pair of scissors that I'm using in my hand. I used to keep them in my car. These buggers are sharp as all get out. And one day, my husband asked me why I kept a pair of scissors in my car. And I said, well, it would make a very good weapon if somebody ever tried to carjack me. He thought it was funny. I was kind of serious. But then the lever quit closing, and I can't use them in my car because that's not very safe. My stuff, my luck, I'd stab myself. All right, so now that we have our gel medium down and our paper down, I'm going to take a light coat of heavy gesso or white heavy gesso just to give a little whitewash. The colors in the background will kind of compete, I think, too much. So we're just going to give it a different look. On the original, I didn't do a whitewash, and on this one, I'm just going to give a little wash just to kind of tone down the back a little bit. I really want to show you guys the watercolor pencils. So we're just giving a little shabby tone down. Not really heavy, just watering it down a little bit. See how you can still see the pattern, but we're just kind of dulling it down just so that our stamp doesn't compete. Or it doesn't compete with our stamp, I should say. So just a little whitewash. We're going to dry that layer as well. Whoop. Aw, man, I knew that was going to happen. I had gesso on my lid. Now it's on my other lid. Dang. My middle name should be Messy. Jamie Messy Dougherty. All right. Heat gun again. Ooh. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, there's markers. I haven't shown them yet, but I'll show you now since somebody brought them up. And we have watercolor pencils. And you all know how I like watercolor pencils, right? I don't have any, like, the complete set, so I'll show you what I can. I'll use a little bit of both on this stamp, okay? Alright. A little bit wet still. Zoe, you color with whatever you feel comfortable coloring with. But you may want to check out the markers. Okay. So we have our background done. I'm going to have to stamp him right side or upside down for now. Okay. Let's grab our Mr. Stampy Stamp. Oh, excuse me, guys. I had to grab him. Okay. Now I am going to use a permanent stamp because I'll be stamping on the top. I don't know where my archival stamp pads went, so I'm going to be using the Surfaces by Colorbox. It's multi-surface ink. You can use on any, like, fabric and metal and all of that. So I'm just going to stamp. And again, stamping is not my strong suit. I will not lie about that. But I love drawing them. Alright. This thing's running away from me. Stay. Alright. I'm standing up to stamp. That way I can get a nice impression. Okay. Pushing, kind of rocking a little bit. Push down the center. Just make sure you have a nice imprint. And there you go. Our little dude. Yeah? He's so handsome. Now this one I went back through because my background is black with the writing. I went ahead and went back over a couple of his features on his face. You could do that with a pen if you'd like. I'm just going to go with what we've got here. That way we can continue going. There's so many different ways that you could take the stamp. I know a couple ladies didn't make them look like steampunk. They made them more jaunty looking, more handsomer. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead. I'm going to show you the watercolor pencils. They're very rich in color. I really like that they do have a bold base to them, which is nice. Just going to outline. I don't go all the way through the piece. I just outline our features. Okay. And then with a little bit of water, you could take a water brush, which Prima has available as well, or just a regular paintbrush. You don't want the brush too wet, you just want it damp. And then you could spread out that color. I'm going to pull some of this color up. It's a little dark. Okay. Look at how bright and colorful that is. I love it. Isn't that pretty, pretty, handsome, handsome? Yeah? Okay. And let's see. Let's try out our pins. Okay. So I'm going to color around him. And I'll go back over with some metallic paints. Or even our watercolor pencils, or not watercolor pencils, our color bloom sprays for the gears around him. But I'm going to color the outside around his face. Now I haven't used these pins with the ink pad that I used. So if they run, they are very alcohol-based pen. It's running a little bit, but with your archival and stuff, it won't. Taking my shade a tad bit lighter. Ooh. Now the pins have a broad base, and then they have more of a bullet based tip, and then they have the broad base tip. I need to keep both ends off, and then I'm going to take my lighter and blend that out a little bit. Okay. Now I have this lighter color. I can go in and blend that out even further. Okay. Take the lighter base. Kind of just have fun with it. Blend them out. See our background so far. Go on this side now. All right. And then blend out with our other lighter color. Now this is Barely Beige. The colors I'm using is Holiday Blue, Aqua, and Barely Beige. Okay. Bring some of my color down here. Aw, he makes such a handsome little holiday gentleman. Isn't he? So handsome. Okay. So if you have color left on your pen, see how I took the beige, you can just run the pen a few times over a clean piece of paper and it'll pull that whatever color you used out, because my other colors were so dark. You can pull those colors out. So we have our little background so far. So nice, so nice. Now what I can do is I'm going to take a few little accents. Let's see, what should we use? Very interesting. let's go ahead. Oh. We're going to use our little spark piece like so. And I'm going to grab a ink pad. I'm going to use green. Just around his head. Ooh, so macho, macho. There you go. Let's grab our letters. Where's my letter stencil? Ouch! There you are. Let's do, let's see, what word should we do? Good day. Good day to you, I see. We'll do good and day. Oh, it's not going to fit on there. Let's do love. I'm going to stamp that in there too. Love and you. I love these little chalkings because you can get into all those little crevices. They work so well. Love you. Looky that. I may give this to my hubby. Okay, so to finish this off, I'm going to add some my gold, of course. Got to add gold leaf, Jamie. I'm going to add a little bit of gold leaf. Have my little gold leaf pin actually ready right here. I'm going to do his monocle. His eyepiece with it. Oh, my pin's wet, or my brush is wet. Don't know where my towel went. And notice I have not colored his face once, because once we're finished, there really won't be a need to color his face. We're utilizing the rest of the tag to add the color. We're creating our color using the background and all the elements instead of him. You don't need to be a Copic master or a pencil master to use the stamps. Okay. So we have this piece here. And color that. How awesome is that? Okay. This one, I used the worn leather, just so you guys know. I used the worn leather to paint. I used it as a paint, and I painted it in around his features like we did the markers, and I used our stencil. Now, what you could do to kind of make these letters pop a bit more is take a white pen. I have a collection of them. I use the Sharpies, the Sharpie white water-based paint pens. You can go in and outline. Oh, this little guy's kind of on its way out, I think. Let's grab another. Okay. Yeah, that's better. You can outline your alphabets, or use black pen if you want. You can kind of just accent those, okay? Anybody have questions? Let me see somebody. The brand of gold paint. This is Liquid Leaf, and it's by Plaid. You could find it in, it's usually, like in Michael's, it's usually over by their stenciling and adhesives. Wherever your gold leaf would be in your store, they have these. There's a couple different colors. There's silver, there's classic gold. The color I used is brass. So there's like 3 or 4 different colors you could use. I like these. These are pretty much the same. Remember those pens, those paint pens we use every holiday to do calligraphy or cards or things like that? This is the same stuff except in a bottle instead of the pen. So I keep a couple brushes. I put a couple brushes aside just to use with the paints. And just because I don't like ruining a lot, because they can ruin your brushes, just to forewarn you. But I really like using it a lot, as a lot of you can tell. Also, you can use our watercolor pens or our watercolor pencils, our markers. Now you could go in and add a little bit of color to his cheeks if you want. This color is Fruit Pink. I'm going to take a little bit. You can kind of add a little bit of color to his cheeks. Okay. Just add a little bit of color to them. Don't have to go all out to make a quick card. We made this card right here in like 20 minutes, if that. So you just go over all of our letters. Isn't this so fun? I love it. Love it, I love it. Okay. All right. So that is about it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for coming today and joining me. Where is his monocle? Where is monocle is? Oh, the little, where is those gems? These guys, these ones. I don't have the package anymore because it's been so long. But these were a sheet of epoxy stickers that Anna came out a couple seasons ago. And actually, you know what? I'm going to outline his little piece again with pencil. It kind of, I overpainted him. Come on. Ah! We'll just outline it again. Let's go back around. My pen's not working. And then we'll put our little epoxy over. Almost the perfect size. It's a little bigger, but it still works, huh? And then I push down and just make sure it's secure onto my tag. Yeah, they're stickers. There was 2 sheets per package. There's 3 or 4 different sizes. There's these little guys as well. And then a larger size. And on the back of the package, there were dies that you could cut out to use as templates. But that's what I used for his little monocle piece. Alrighty. Okay, thank you, everybody. Is there anything you guys wanted to see one last time before we went and left? You could use Crystal Element, Crystal Effects, or a lot of different epoxy gels that are out there. You can use as well to get the same look. Okay. Yes, there are a set of skin tone markers perfect for my stamps and Julie Nutting stamps. Perfect little set to use to color. I have 2 skin tones. Well, I have 3 skin tones. Let's see. This one is the one I used, right? Fruit Pink is the one I used. And then we have the Barely Beige, which I used earlier, and also Skin White. Skin White's a very pale color, which would be nice to blend in with the cheek color that I just used. And blend those out. Okay. Oh, I want to show you guys one last sample that I've been working on. This one is also using the mother stamp. All right, and I just put it in this little antique frame that I found. This is stamped on a piece of wood, and I use markers to color her in on the piece of wood. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use them and make them so they don't look like stamps. That's the thing, is you can stamp it with a nice pale colored stamp pad. That way you know where your lines are, but then you can color in with your watercolor pencils, your markers, your regular colored pencils, and make them look like pieces of artwork. So they don't even look like a stamp that you stamped on a piece of paper. Okay? Thank you everybody for coming. Lamore is going to be on Thursday night. She's going to be creating a watercolor book, a journal, a watercolor journal to get you kind of going for the new year, get your inspiration going. And again, with the art venture, if you guys haven't looked up that information, make sure you do go to Facebook. You can also contact Denny at Prima Marketing for more information, and I hope to see you guys there. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and it's always a blast. 2 days you get so much information and so many projects in. It's just a really fun time. So I hope to see you there. If you're not going to be there, I hope to see you at CHA. We're going to have a full week of demos and make and takes for you guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you guys later. Until next time, have fun and happy creating, everybody.